but both of them play with the same toy at a playground, the Turtle Boy. That connection has many fans eagerly awaiting the day the two finally meet. Needless to say, a lot of people believe they'll start dating when they're older, right? That's why Bingo, her son, and much of the Healer family will learn to communicate using sign language, a great way to include everyone and send a positive message to kids watching. And what about Bluey and Bingo's friends? They went to school with a bunch of other pups, and many of them will still appear. At least some of them, because it's pretty normal to lose touch with a few old classmates once adulthood kicks in, whether because of moving away or just following different paths. That won't be the case for Leela, Bingo's best friend. In her debut episode, she even says she was planning to stay with Bingo forever. Then we see several photos of the two side by side at different stages of their lives, right up to graduation. So it's pretty obvious that Leela also became an archaeologist and still works for their best friend to this day. Other returning faces include Snickers and Coco. They're another duo that will become a couple as they get older, just like Bluey and Mackenzie. Of course, that relationship will only start after Coco gets over her crush on the Border Collie. Several scenes in the original show hint that little Coco had a thing for Mackenzie, like when she insists on being his girlfriend during a game. There were probably some teenage drama moments around all that while they were in high school, the age when we're all a bit more prone to drama. But those things will be water under the bridge in the new series, and the couples will all be great friends. It would be fun to see them talking about all that teenage gossip in an episode. Speaking of couples, let's not forget about Rusty and Int. Those two had a super cute bond when they were little and even played mommy and daddy together. That doesn't mean they were in love back then, but their connection was strong enough that it could turn into a real romance in the future, one that'll result in a few kids. We're thinking like 5 of them. Yep, the whole mom and dad game is going to turn real. And another thing that's definitely going to happen, Rusty will become a professional cricket player. He loves the sport, he's super talented, and, well, the show already shows a future scene of him playing professionally. No debate there. And you know what else isn't up for debate? Nobody regrets clicking the subscribe button, because that way you'll get all our videos about your favorite cartoons. Pretty great idea, huh? Even though we think Mackenzie will be the one Bluey ends up marrying, there's another great candidate with serious potential. Jean-Luc, the Canadian Labrador she met in the camping episode. They became great friends during the short time they spent together, even though they didn't speak the same language, since Jean-Luc only spoke French. But they were separated when the Labrador had to go back home. What's really interesting is that the end of this episode shows they're going to meet again as teenagers, giving this story a happy ending. And here's our theory. Before Bluey actually ends up with Mackenzie, she's going to date Jean-Luc during her teen years. After all, it's totally normal to have a few relationships before finally getting together with your forever love. Of course, while they were dating, Bluey and Jean-Luc had plans to get married, but not everything goes as planned. And this could become a great lesson the series teaches through their relationship. After all, they're from different countries, and that could lead to some real challenges. Jean will have learned English to communicate with her, but other issues could become bigger obstacles, like Jean wanting Bluey to move with him to Canada while she prefers to stay in Australia. In the end, the couple will break up and go their separate ways, with Jean returning to his home country. Bluey might share this whole story with her daughters in a flashback episode, kind of like Baby Race. Later on, an older Jean-Luc would come back, with a wife and kids of his own. He's moved on, just like his ex. It would be really sweet if the two of them became good friends after all that. We've left 2 awesome videos on your screen. Click on one of them and keep the fun going. Thanks for watching, and see you next time. One of the reasons why Bluey is so awesome is that every episode shows the little blue pup and her sister growing up and evolving more and more. But what if we told you she's really going to grow up and stop being a kid? When that happens, it's very likely that a brand new series will be created, this time focusing on Bluey's adult life. And one of the biggest twists in this next chapter is that the main character will become a mom, just like Chili. That will definitely happen if this show comes to life, for the simple reason that Bluey's future daughter appeared in the episode's Surprise, during a scene showing what the Healer family will look like a few years from now. We don't know her name yet, but we're sure she's a girl, and that she's definitely Bluey's daughter. Series creator Joe Brum confirmed it after some fans started theorizing that the little pup's real mom was Bingo. So it's official, Bluey will get pregnant and have a baby. We're guessing her name will be Roxanne, but everyone's gonna call her by a cute nickname, Roxy, because she's purple. In her one and only appearance so far, the little pup is already getting ready to annoy Bandit just like her mom did when she was younger. That makes it pretty clear the two will be a lot alike. Though honestly, Roxy might turn out to be even more of a troublemaker. But we don't think Ludo Studios, the company behind the show, is going to give Bluey just one child. After all, more puppies means more opportunities for different stories. Not to mention that the average number of kids Australian women have is 2. So it's expected that our beloved protagonist will have a second baby too, a boy named Reggie. His name will also start with R, as a fun nod to how Bluey and Bingo both have names that start with B. Pretty cool, right? But the continuation of Bluey will bring lots of new characters and awesome storylines. So grab your popcorn and get ready. If our little blue pup ends up having kids at some point, that also means one more thing. She's going to have a romance and probably get married. And who's the lucky guy? Oh, of course, it's Mackenzie. So far, he and Bluey are best friends. Several episodes make it super clear that they care a lot about each other and are always playing together. Plus, in the episode Barky Boats, teacher Calypso drops a subtle hint that the two might become a couple when they're older, just like Mia and Captain. The Border Collie is the perfect match for Bluey, and it would be amazing to see them together like that. We believe he'll be the Chili in the relationship, more calm and sensible. Meanwhile, Bluey will stay her playful self and parent her kids the same way Bandit parented her. Like every adult, Bluey will have to work. Unfortunately, that's the destiny we all face as we grow up. Unless you're an heir. We believe she'll go down a creative path because the entire original series shows how imaginative and eager to create she's always been. One specific episode that really highlights this is Bumpy and the Wise Old Wolfhound, where she makes a short film for Bingo to watch while she's sick. The Healer family's fridge was covered in her drawings, which might be a big hint that Bluey will become an animator, meaning someone who draws all the scenes we see in animated shows. That would be a huge shout out to the show's actual creator, Joe Brumm. Before directing and writing Bluey, he spent years working as an animator on other kids' cartoons in Europe, even working on Peppa Pig, for example. The show already includes several references to Joe Brumm's real life and family, with Bandit being inspired by him. So an interesting next step would be making the show's protagonist follow the same career path. At some point, she could even level up and take a shot at creating her own animated series. That would leave me speechless. If you'd be just as amazed, drop a comment below with #animation. Who knows, maybe that'll inspire Bluey to really become an animator, right? Bingo will still show up in this new series, although not as much as in the original. The reason is that she'll have become an archaeologist just like her dad. But unlike him, she'll work more out in the field than behind a computer. This totally fits Bingo's adventurous personality and also lines up with what we saw in Surprise, where there's a photo of the younger sister with the Easter Island statues in Polynesia. She was most likely there on an archaeological expedition. But whenever she's not traveling, Bingo will still appear a lot. She and Bluey have always been super close, which means they'll probably live in houses near each other. Plus, they'll have another great reason to visit each other. Bingo will also have a child, and he'll be great friends with Roxy and Reggie, just like Bluey and her sister were with their cousins Muffin and Socks. The big difference is that her son will be adopted instead of biological. Bingo will have trouble getting pregnant, just like Chili and Brandy, since she's also a red healer like them. This dog breed is known for fertility issues. No wonder both Bingo's mom and aunt lost babies in the past. The same could very well happen to her. With all that in mind, it makes total sense for her son to be from a completely different breed. We think his name might be Bob, as a tribute to Bingo's paternal grandfather. Bingo will raise this child with her husband, who's also likely someone we've already met in the original series, specifically Doug. He's a deaf boy who had an entire episode focused on him.